Hello, fellow residents of Tamriel. It is the Beeve, and we are back again. I have been really enjoying making these builds with the two-handed weapon on the front and back bars, and I really like how the wrecking blow mechanic of giving the major berserk is making some of these rotations like very easy, very static like, to be able to get into the 100k and above range, which is going to help you clear any content in the game. So I want to do, make another little video here. Hopefully, not take up as much time as I have in the last couple. So we're only going to just go over the double two-hand part of this instead of going over all the different stuff. But this is a Stamina Warden, in case you didn't already know, with the bear standing in the background there. And that bear is just an absolute beast, to be honest with you. I'll show you in the combat metrics report after the parse. But we are using an orc with this build. Dark elf is probably slightly better, probably best in slot, to be honest with you. But I like the orc for the extra little bit of health that they get. It goes a long way, in my opinion, towards survivability. Let's buff ourselves up here. 13,000 max magicka, 22,900 in maximum health, and 32,000 in maximum stamina with a 1575 recovery. Our weapon damage is at 5,075, critical is at 58.6, penetrations are at 1639, and when we have our Ice Fortress on, we are looking at, spell and physical resistances in the 18 and 19,000. So we have the ability to, put those on if we're not having it provided for us by somebody else to help mitigate our damage. Also, the Warden has a lot of built-in healing with some of these abilities here. Right there, you'll see that just calling out one of my animal companion abilities, after it ends, I give myself minor toughness, so now my health is at 25,000. So I'm able to buff myself in content to a higher health total and give myself some small passive heals in the same sense as well. But if we're running 4-man content and we don't have a warden in the group that's providing minor toughness, no worry, we are providing it for ourselves. So that's a nice little utility to this build as well. We are 64 points into stamina, and we are using the Thief Mundus Stone. And with this build, right now I'm currently using the Dubious Camoran Throne. This is the purple stamina recovery food. It increases stamina recovery by 278, max stamina by 2520, max health by 2730. It's a very, very affordable food to make. If you wanted to go with Artaeum Takeaway Broth, you could do that. It'll give you more max health, it'll give you more stamina recovery, and provide you with health recovery as well. The problem is this stuff is expensive, plain and simple. Like, you're going to, the mats for making this are not cheap. So if you were going to go with this option, I would only go with this option when you are in, content where it calls for it. But the Dubious works very well, and I'm going to show you how well it actually does work. If you're not too worried about how your health, being a little bit lower, you could always go with Lava Foot and just, and have recovery for days. So definitely an option, but the Dubious works very well. You're going to see that in the parse. Just as we've seen before, we are using perfected reliquins. As I've said in the past, reliquins does not have to be perfected. If you don't have the perfected version, the non-perfected version is going to perform very similar. It's not going to be that big of a difference. The great sword that I'm using, I have a flame damage enchantment on, and I am running the precise trait. And then we do have the jewelry, a necklace, and 2 rings of perfected reliquins as well. Reliquins is a medium armor set that can be found in the Cloud Rest Trial. Back bar, we are once again running the Maelstrom's Perfected Greatsword infused with a weapon and spell damage enchantment on it. Perfected is not a necessity with this. If you don't have the perfected version, you're only losing 1190 offensive penetration, which doesn't mean anything on the Trial Atronach because you're at pen cap anyway on the Trial Atronach. And in content, you're not really going to see a huge difference either, if any at all. For all the longer that you are on that back bar reapplying dots, that extra 1190 offensive penetration doesn't really do a whole lot for you. Monster Helm, once again, is Zaun Mask and Zaun Epaulettes, both in Divines with stamina enchantments on them. This is a Monster Helm that can be found in the Scalecaller Peak Veteran Dungeon. When you complete it on Veteran, you get the Zaun Helm. And when you have the helm, you can go to the Undaunted Enclave and talk to the Orc Lady that gives the stuff for all the DLC, gives the pledges for the DLC dungeons, and you'll be able to use your keys to, purchase coffers till you can get the shoulder piece that you need for it. Once again, as well, we are wearing Highland Sentinel if it's a fight that you can't really hold still in, like we talked about in the past. The Highland Sentinel can be traded out for something different. If you're going to trade out the Highland Sentinel, I strongly suggest that you go with the Reliquins on the body rather than the Highland Sentinel. That way, no matter your front or back bar, your light attacks are always applying the harmful winds. With this setup I have right here, you have to be really on point with your bar swaps and your light attacks. Otherwise, it's very easy when you get onto that back bar to reapply dots. If you're not quick about it, you'll drop all those stacks off of Reliquin. So if you're going to take off the Highland Sentinel, then definitely put the Reliquins on the body and then go with something else on the weapons and jewelry, whether it be like Aegis Collar or it be Pillar of Nirn. If you wanted to trade out the Reliquins, you could go with Coral Riptide on the body. I mean, there's a bunch of different combinations with this that will work and produce really good damage. This one right here just works very, very well. That's why we continue to use it. The Highland Sentinel is a craftable set that if you're not able to craft it, you can easily find somebody that'll do so, whether it's a master crafter in one of the guilds you have or just somebody out in zone that's just looking to make a few bucks, crafting some stuff for people. So all of these pieces are in Divines, and they are all with the maximum stamina enchant on them. Now, I'm wearing 6 pieces medium, 1 piece light. I'm actually a little bit above the critical weapon, critical strike damage cap because of some of the passives that the Warden has. And so we don't need the 6 medium. We could easily trade out the helm for a heavy and get all 3 bonuses from the Undaunted passive rather than just 2 bonuses from it. So definitely something you can do to give you just a slight bit more magicka, stamina, and health. So that is always an option. when I make these, and then I find out that I'm at cap, then I never change out the gear. It's not I don't go back in and change everything out. I just make sure I let you know that that can be changed out if you would like to do that. Our champion tree has always green and red. You kind of do your own thing. Just I always suggest making sure you have Hero's Vigor and your Boundless Vitality so you're getting as much maximum health as you possibly can. Your blue tree, make sure you have all of your constellations filled in that don't require to be slotted, like in your Starving Death, your Eldritch Insight, your Blessed, your Timeless Discipline, Precision, all the everything in the extended might that doesn't need to be slotted. So these are just make those aren't your top priority. You want to make sure that I have my Wrathful Strike slotted, my Deadly Aim, my Master at Arms. Right now I have Untamed Aggression because I was messing around with that, but I'm actually changing this out for Weapons Expert. This seems to do best for me at least, so that's why I've been running this. You can choose what you like, but I definitely, if you're following this guide piece by piece, to if you're following it perfectly, you're gonna be over the critical strike damage cap, so or right at it. So you do not want to put anything into Fighting Finesse or Backstabber. But make sure you do have the 4 that you're going to slot filled in all the way first, and then start trickling down and getting all of your constellations that don't require them to be slotted if you're lower CP coming up. Our skills. We are running Stampede. This is what procs our Maelstrom weapon. We're running Winter's Revenge. This is a nice 12-second damage over time. Deals frost damage and reduces movement speed and has a higher chance to apply the chilled status effect. The chilled status effect can then when you put the chilled status effect on things, and it makes it easier for your tanks and your healers to make sure that they're applying like minor and major brittle. So definitely like having the Winter's Revenge on for that aspect. We are running Growing Swarm. This is just a nice little damage over time. It's 20-second damage over time. It does 17,000 damage. It does infect the target with minor vulnerability, increasing your damage, increasing their damage taken by 5%. So it helps the whole group, not just yourself. And it also has like a AoE effect to it. Enemies that are near the carrier take bleed damage every 2 seconds as well. You can only have one of them active at a time, though. This is kind of a utility slot. I have the Bull Netch here. You can trade this out for something you would like differently. And Ice Fortress. Oh, the Bull Netch is just this is a really important piece of this build right here. We're making sure that we keep this Bull Netch up all the time for our stamina recovery. That's what's helping us use the purple food in such a spam heavy rotation that you're going to see. Plus, it does provide major brutality and major sorcery as well. So if you're forgetting to hit pots when you need to hit them, but you're keeping your Bull Netch up, you're at least still getting your weapon and spell damage increase from it. Plus, every 5 seconds, it does remove a negative effect. And if no negative effects are removed, you instead increase your damage done by 5% for 5 seconds. So it's a very key piece of this build. It's something we're going to keep up 100% of the time, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. But this particular spot is a flex spot because I actually have this on the back bar so that we're not dropping off Reliquins, or front bar so we're not dropping off Reliquins. But we have our Ice Fortress here. This is just provides us with physical and spell resistance, and minor protection for 30 seconds. So this is just something that we can use to help make ourselves a little hardier. It's on the bar. We don't really hit it in combat unless it's absolutely necessity. If you're in a situation where you're taking a lot of damage and you need to mitigate some of it, you can put this on to increase your physical and spell resistance. We are using the bear. We're using the Guardian Savagery portion of this. This bear is just an absolute monster. Now, you do have to have him on both bars or he goes away, but this is, he swipes dealing bleed damage, and then he sometimes does like a really big swipe where he rears back and hits all enemies in front of him, dealing a lot more bleed damage and stunning them. And then once you get into execute phase, he does 100% more damage. If you do this right with the wrecking blows added into it and use this execute during execute phase, I've seen this hit like 210k. This guy smacks, absolutely vicious. On our front bar, we are using wrecking blow. This is our main spammable. This is what we're gonna be using this a ton. We are using Deep Fissure. This is the Magicka version of this, just to make sure that we're not using too much stamina. We can call this once per rotation. It's going to come out after 3 seconds, and it's going to burrow. They're going to burrow back down, and they're going to come out again after another 6 seconds, and strike again. So we're gonna be using this once per rotation for that. And this is also nice, really nice utility for like if you're in solo content, like if you're running Vadishrin or Maelstrom or something like that. This will also provide major and minor breach, so you're looking at another 7, 8, 9,000 penetration just from this ability hitting something. So it's good for that aspect as well. We are using Executioner. Once we hit the below the 25% mark or lower, we're gonna swap out our wrecking blows for our Executioner. We do have our Barb Trap. We're gonna make sure we're keeping this up 100% of the time for the bleed damage that it causes, the bleed damage over time, and our critical strike damage increase from the minor force. And then we have the Bull Netch on this front bar as well, also with the bear as well. The rotation it's pretty simple, honestly. It's fairly easy to do. We're gonna run in when we start the fight, and we're gonna drop our trap and get that started right off the bat, and then we're gonna make sure our Bull Netch is up and active for the start of the fight as well. So activate the Bull Netch, drop your trap on the boss, and then bar swap. And then it's going to be a light attack Stampede, light attack Winter's Revenge, light attack Growing Swarm, and then we're going to bar swap. And then we're going to light attack Deep Fissure, and then we are going to light attack Wrecking Blow spam until the dots on the front bar fall off. The Winter's Revenge is going to fall off. It is only a 12 second, so you let this fall off. Don't worry about it falling off. It's not a big deal. Just when you see this Stampede getting down to about right around like 1 second left, I tend to stop my spamming and then light attack Barb Trap, light attack Bull Netch, bar swap, start over, and begin the whole process again. So once again, to just make sure we're clear, we're activating our Netch, we're dropping trap on boss, and then we're bar swapping to our back bar. We're light attack Stampede, light attack Winter's Revenge, light attack Growing Swarm, bar swap. We're light attack Deep Fissure, and then we are going to light attack spam Wrecking Blow until there's about a second left on the Stampede ability on our front bar. Then we're going to light attack Barb Trap, light attack Bull Netch, and bar swap and start over. It's pretty darn simple, to be honest with you. Make sure you are activating your bear ultimate every as soon as it happens. It only costs 75 ultimate, so you get this a lot. And I always try to make it a habit to make sure that I've used my wrecking blow before activating it, just to get that minor or that major berserk out of the wrecking blow for this ability to smack even harder. So just that's how I like to do things. So with that being said, let's go ahead and run this parse real quick. I'll show you what it does with the dubious food on. It works very well. As long as we are keeping this Betty up right here, we're going to be golden on our recovery with it. If we don't keep it up, it can get a little bit dicey. Now this late attack weave with the wrecking blow can be a little bit on the janky side, so I've went over that before. It's very easy to get stuck in a loop where you're not light attacking, so you got to be paying attention to make sure that it's not hanging up on you and keeping you from completing your light attacks. Didn't mean to hit the shocks again. Alright, here we come up on execute phase. So here we're just going to trade out the wrecking blows for the executioner. Now I am going to hit one here just to make sure this bear hits as hard as he can. 202k he just hit right there. That's just for the sake of wanting to see that number. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. And there we have the parse. We're looking at 110,527. Just a really heavy hitting build. The rotation is completely simple. It's a nice spam heavy rotation that you are able to sustain with, as long as you're keeping up that Betty niche like I showed you, or that bull niche like I showed you. And it produces damage. To go into our combat report here. See, this is where I was telling you that critical damage is at 129, so I'm over what or is 130 the max? No, 129 is the cap, unless they changed it. I could be wrong. I don't know. But do believe it's still 125. I'll have to look that up. I don't know why that's saying 130% is 100%. I don't think. Someone tells me that's not right, but maybe they changed it and I'm just not aware of it. If they did, please comment below. That would be great. But we did 16,000 or 16,700,000 damage critical, 4.2, and normal for a 79-20 split, 80-20 split basically. 1,580 damage total ticks, 985 were critical, 595 were normal. Yeah, we have we'll go over this like we did before. We did have an 81% critical strike rating here, but I know this doesn't add up, but like we do have to take into consideration that Arms of Reliquin and Zaun both cannot crit, so that is 327 damage ticks that would never tick. So if you were to take those away, you would see those numbers being a lot more in line. When it comes to our debuffs, aren't working today for some reason, but when it comes to our buffs, we had a 97% uptime on our Sentinel's Eye. Bull Netch was 100%. Let's see. Minor Force was 99%, Barb Trap 99%, Growing Swarm 98%, Merciless Charge 98%, Reliquin's 95%. So the hemorrhaging, you get a lot of hemorrhaging out of this build because of the different bleed damages that we're putting on. So that's always a nice factor. The burning status effect is really nice as well. We kept almost a 60% uptime on Major Berserk, which isn't bad for a 3-second buff that you get from using an ability, especially when for the last 25% of the fight we weren't hitting the Major Berserk whatsoever because we were skipping out on the wrecking blows to do the Executioner. So if we weren't doing that, this would have a much higher uptime on it. Chilled, Maim, Zaun, Sundered. There is like the status effects that come off this build is awesome, absolutely awesome. Our Wrecking Blow did 22,000 DPS, critted 83%, averaged 53, maxed at 60. Our light attacks came in, like keep saying it every video I make. Your Arms of Reliquin here is at almost at 8. Your light attack is at 14. That is like 22,000 damage just from doing light attack weaving with the Reliquins on. So like if you're not good with it, practice. It's too good to give up. Our light attacks critted 78% of the time. Our Executioner was pretty big here. He only critted 64% of the time, so that kind of sucked. But it averaged 75 and maxed out at 113. This is the reason why I say that there's not a good reason to try to Wrecking Blow and then throw 2 Executioners in, Wrecking Blow, then throw 2 Executioners in for that extra bonus damage. It kind of just slows down your rotation for the most part, and for the amount of time that you cost to cast Wrecking Blow, you could have thrown out another, maybe in the course of things, because of the channel time on the Wrecking Blow, you may have been able to get 3 Executioners opposed to 2 Wrecking Blows. And when it's maxing out at 60 and Executioner is averaging 75, that is why we're going straight into execute the Executioner once we hit that 25%, and we're ignoring the Wrecking Blow. Our Arms of Reliquin, always a good damage dealer. Now here is the bear. Holy cow, look at this guy. 5,500 here, 5,300 here, and then down here is another 4,100, and he was helping apply a lot of this hemorrhaging as well. We're not going to add that in there, but I mean, you're looking at 14, 50, you're looking at like 15,000 damage almost, or right at, for this bear being out and just hitting his ultimate at every 75 ultimate. Yeah, he's doing just as much damage, if not more, than our light attacks. Like, he is just an absolute monster. And look at this. The Guardian Savagery. This was when when we use him as the ultimate. He critted 100% of the time, which is crazy good. He averaged 113 and maxed out at 202. So, like, this guy he smacks. This guy slaps, plain and simple. His swipe was averaging 53. His crushing swipe was averaging 55. Like, he just does phenomenal damage. We do a lot of hemorrhaging damage. As you can see, we got like 4,200 damage from hemorrhaging alone, from all the different bleed abilities that we're using, and our bear having a higher chance to apply hemorrhaging. We were applying a ton of hemorrhaging, and it shows right there. 4,200 damage per second. Stampede comes in after that, and here's our Zon. This isn't as big as it is with the other builds, but it's still good damage. You're still at 7,500 damage per second. What's put actually between that and the burning status effect, we're adding these together because, yes, I do have like a fiery weapon enchantment on the two-hand, but it's not always proccing the burning status effect. But the Zon, every ticket goes off, is proccing it. So the Zon had 80 ticks, and there was 115 ticks from the burning. So a lot of this was caused from the Zon. Winter's Revenge, 3,500. Growing Swarm, right on par with it, 3,400. Deep Fissure, between the first and second one, you're looking at 32 and 27. That's 39, 59. So it would be up here and around the right below the Arms of Reliquin. So it does decent damage. And then there's our fiery weapon. It fired off 42 times. It critted pretty nicely. Our other portion is Stampede. We put some chilled on him, some Barb Trap, some Sunder. So everything with this build, there's a lot of status effects with this build, a lot of bleed damage with this build, and a lot of able to buff all those as well with your Wrecking Blow being able to give you the major berserk. So when everything synergized together, it makes for a very simple, very easy rotation where we hit 110k. Didn't have any problems with sustain whatsoever. If we chose to go up into the Artam Takeaway Broth for even more health and more stamina and more recovery, things would change just a tad little bit. Not a huge amount by any means, but we have the ability to do that as well. I don't think this is going to sustain with Bewitched Sugar Skulls, unfortunately, but you could try. Maybe slow the rotation down, slow down the number of Wrecking Blows. You'll lower the DPS total, but you'll have a lot more health in the situation. But and then once again, if you're having a hard time, keeping up the Betty Netch or the Bull Netch, and you're not getting, you're having trouble sustaining because you're forgetting to hit it or whatnot, you can always go with the Lava Foot Soup and Saltrice. It's going to provide you with no maximum health, but if you're comfortable with running with less than ideal maximum health, then absolutely do so, and you won't have a single problem when it comes to sustain. But with this particular build, I like I like having, like, when we have the minor toughness on, we're at 25k health. Like, that's a good bit of health for a stamina DPS. So I think that's all I got for you guys. I'm trying to not make this any more long-winded than before. If you like the content, please like and subscribe. I would appreciate it greatly. And once again, you can always come over onto Kick and catch me live on there at the_Beeve01. and that's where I would like to start interacting more with people that want to see things, want to try things out that don't have the ability to try them out without wrecking their mats on console and whatnot. So if that's something that interests you, please, follow me on Kick, give me shoot me a message or whatnot, and I would more than happily put together whatever you'd like to see done and go from there. Maybe I can teach you something you didn't see. Maybe you can teach me something I didn't see. So yeah, either way, please jump over and give me a like and or give me a follow on there, and I'd be greatly appreciative. But that's all I got, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate it greatly, and happy adventuring.